Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
And today, we're going to chat about Batman vs. Robin. Hi, Eric.
Hi.
Welcome back to the channel. It seems like every time you're on the channel, I do this now.
Welcome back. Yeah,
it's been so long.
Every time I make a YouTube video, it's like, so I've been gone for a while.
I just wanted to let you know that I got out of the vacuum cleaner. Every now and again, I get sucked back into it, but I'm out of it now.
Well, this last time we built like one of those containment units from Ghostbusters, and I got myself stuck in a trap, and nobody knew, and so I was in that weird hell world from the real Ghostbusters cartoon.
Your tombstone is going to read, Hoover, nobody does it like you.
I don't know what that means.
Well, Hoover, vacuum cleaner company, their slogan, no one does it like you.
I was thinking J. Edgar Hoover, and I was like, I'm not getting this historical reference.
All right. Well, somebody was laughing while you were confused, I'm sure. Anyway,
was that the joke?
No, there's a different joke.
Okay.
Just wait for it. Anyway, so Eric and I are going to, as we always do, this is belated. We've waited a while on this one, just because we couldn't get our schedules together. But finally, as we always do...
lack of anticipation. I mean, let's be honest, I haven't been excited for any of these.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
2 years. As
we always do with, if you've not watched one of these before with the direct-to-video movies, Eric and I have been doing this for years. We have kind of a... We have kind of a thing where every time these come out, we like to do them, and or at least we used to like to do them. Now we do it sort of obligatorily. Yeah, well, I mean, when we first started doing this, it was around circa, it was before Crisis on Two Earths.
That was the first one we did, I think, was Crisis on Two Earths.
I thought we did one before that, I forget. But anyway, so, because I didn't care for that one.
I think it was the first one we did, and that one's actually on my channel.
Oh, okay. Oh, I don't even remember. Well, I don't even remember. It's been forever. But anyway.
We didn't do all of them because we didn't do All-Star Superman.
No, we didn't. I don't know.
It didn't become like a tradition at first. We just did like 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah, okay, because I thought it was already a tradition by then. But anyway, whatever. So it's a tradition now, which is the reason we're doing them. Because famously...
There's no other reason to do them.
Yeah, precisely. Because what's been happening lately is we'll do one of these reviews and then we'll get comments where people are like, well, you guys, your heart's not even in it. Why are you even bothering? And I'm like, well, we've always done them, and we're kind of hoping maybe they start getting better, and whatever.
I'm pretty sure that's the questions being asked at Warner Brothers right now. Why are we still making these? Well, I mean, we've been making them.
We've been making them.
Years.
Yeah, it's it feels like a thing we should be doing, I guess. I don't know, but so we've got so we've had this running continuity now for a couple years where they're doing movies based on 52, and they're all set in the same universe. And now we've had what is this, the third Batman one?
Let's see. No, it's just the second one.
Just the second one?
This one?
Okay, yeah.
You're probably thinking of Assault on Arkham, but that wasn't.
But that one wasn't part of this, yeah. So we had, so I guess we've had, you and I just did the Aquaman one. It was the last one we did.
Yeah, I think the first one was the Dark Side thing. Yeah. Then it was Son of Batman, then Aquaman, then this. Does that sound right?
I think so, and then Flashpoint kind of counts before that. So,
yeah,
okay, cool. So now we're into Batman versus Robin. You and I really vehemently disliked Batman and Son. Like, we just didn't like that movie.
About that is, I can't remember. Like, I don't even remember what I didn't like about it.
I had the same thing.
I hated it.
It's unmemorable. It was dull, and I remember just thinking that it was paced really, really weird, and then I just didn't care.
Me for Christmas, and I had to really awkwardly be like, "No, yeah, I like this."
I remember us just thinking that it was really hard to get through, and I didn't care about anything that was going on in it. You get to this,
we haven't liked the Justice League ones either.
Yeah,
maybe there was another Batman one, because I feel like there must have been something else. Was there a Superman one? I feel like we've had a couple of, we've had a good number of films in a row where we're just like, these are terrible.
Well, we were not liking them before that. You had Superman Unchained, which we didn't.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know what? I'm probably.
Or was it Unbound? Was that I think Unbound. I do that every time. But we didn't like that one. Anyway, well,
the one that Scott Snyder didn't write.
Well, we should move on. But anyway, so we didn't really care for Batman and Son. And so I was not really looking forward to this one because I figured it was just going to be more of that, and surprisingly, it's sort of watchable. I mean, I was not in love with this, but...
Watchable is the key word, yeah. It's better than what we've been getting, but does not achieve the high water mark of good.
Yeah, and so I mean, the bar is not real high here, but I certainly enjoyed this more than I wasn't like looking at my watch or wishing that I had to turn it on, or wishing I could turn it off and thinking I'm just doing this for a review. There was places where I was legitimately enjoying it. It was some of the Court of the Owl stuff, and we'll talk about all of this being brought to screen and getting to see some of that realized was, I thought, legitimately kind of fun to get to see. It was of course truncated like a lot of this has been, and a lot of it was kind of just throwaway real quick. Here's an image that you remember from that, and then we move on.
They bring the Court of Owls, but they do something that really hurts them altogether.
Yeah.
They don't know who Batman is.
That was my big thing with it. And here's what I didn't. Let's just jump right into that. So if you haven't seen this movie, and of course we're gonna go full blown spoilers as we always do. But you're basically taking.
I want a graphic that just when you say that, just full blown spoilers.
You're with just spoiler in the spoilers costume, just like right. So. We're basically taking two stories and kind of lumping them together.
Not really?
Are we not really? Is there nothing
this
in this?
Has nothing to do with Batman versus Superman. Or
I should hope not.
Robin from the Grant Morrison run.
Does it?
No. That story is that Talia reveals that she kind of has like a mental control over Damian and makes Damian attack Bruce.
That's right.
Remember,
it's been a while.
That story is also all tied into the return of Bruce Wayne. This has nothing to do with that.
It's been several years. Okay. Okay, so this is basically the Court of the Owls thing with Robin thrown in the middle of it, is pretty much what it is. And trying to be a sequel to Batman and Son, which I would argue Batman and Son now kind of looks like just a lead-up film for this. Like, you kind of need that so that you don't have to spend a lot of time explaining what Damian is. I kind of appreciated that there's a mention of race and stuff like that, but we don't have to do flashbacks or anything like that. It's just we've been there already. We're moving on. I like that.
They are not actually interested in Grant Morrison's Batman. Like, that's very clear from these two films. They just want to use Damian. And it makes me wonder why... Like, wouldn't this be such an interesting premise for a new animated series?
Yeah, sure.
Give them a new Robin and it's Damian. Like, I don't feel like either of these films have enough room to really deal with the relationships the way they want to deal with them.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right about that. And that's making some quite a bit of the character stuff feel kind of wooden, and I don't feel for any characters. I don't feel like they're fully realized. I do think that this is the best paced of the ones they've done so far. And again, my standards are kind of low for these right now. So a lot of what I'm appreciating is here's things I have positives, and I'm excited about that, Eric. But there's downtime in this. There are places where characters are just going about their business, and we are revealing things about characters and building up things toward what we're going to do later, but it feels like real life just pacing in places, and they haven't had that. And I really appreciate that.
And there's legitimate, they're obvious and they're not great, but there is legitimate setups and payoffs.
Yeah, sure. And it's not a lot of just, it's not a lot of just action for the sake of action. Also, let's get this out of the way real quick. You and I often find ourselves with these movies complaining about the gratuitous violence thing, and that they're trying to make things look really bloody and have a lot of profanity for no reason.
A film that's what I was going to say. A film that just has a lot of profanity for no reason. This one justifies the rating.
Does not have that problem. It justifies it. It's fine. There's some blood. It works. I don't think it's over the top in the way
some more adult thematic stuff going on with the abuse of parents.
I think they're consistent about that, and I thought I liked the tone of this all the way through. I thought the sound design was really good. A lot of the atmosphere really worked. I think they've been a little bit wonky with that stuff in the past, and it's felt kind of just rushed. I think what I'm reacting to positively most of all in this is that this feels like a movie somebody was kind of excited to get to make. Finally.
Yeah, well, and you know what? I think that's all about the Court of the Owls. I think they
then just do
people to get to do that.
And then here's my first big negative. Then just do that story. Just do that.
Yeah.
Now I will say that, because I'm going to sound like a hypocrite. So I'm going to say real quick. Give me a second, Eric. I'm going to say two things that kind of contradict each other. And then I'm going to try to explain why I feel this way, okay? I'm on the fence about this. Because oftentimes, what they'll do is they will straight up adapt a thing, and you and I will say, 80 minutes, there's not enough time. You guys couldn't do that story in the amount of time you had. They've done that with several different things. Death of Superman, they did it with the Superman, help me out, the Grant Morrison thing. All-Star Superman. They did not have enough.
Just All-Star Superman with the middle 4 issues cut out.
Yeah, exactly. The first 3 issues are just almost verbatim, and then after that they start cutting things. And hard, and the middle, and the meat, and But anyway, so there's a part of me, and I often will say, well, instead of just straight up adapting a thing, why don't you go your own way and just tell a new story, and maybe it can be loosely based on a thing, but tell a great story that you can tell in 80 minutes. So, with this, I want to say good on him for trying that. I want to say, way to take the Court of the Owls, not do that story, do a different story, but involve them. And then I find myself all the way through going, I wish we could just tell if not the Court of the Owl story, a Court of the Owl. I guess the problem is, because we made it all about Robin, they don't feel like anything like the threat they used to be.
No, and one of the big, and I think the biggest thing that takes their teeth away is they don't know who Batman is. That's a huge problem.
Let's go ahead and
in the comic, the whole point is they know everything and they are everywhere.
Yeah, and
that
in this,
is what's scary about that.
Well, and in this, they tried to make that work by having an explanation for it. There's talk where they're like, well, we used to be everywhere and we used to run the city, but we've been crippled some, and so now we're still around and we're trying that, but
like underground, sewer dwellers in this.
Yeah, and that's so weird because they should be the most powerful people in Gotham. They're still the sons and daughters of the richest people. So and they talk about that, but I don't see the resources. Really, they just kind of talk about it. No, you're right. They feel like a cult, and the way they handle all that, they kind of feel like they're just playing at this. And
it's weird because this almost feels like it could have been not the story it tells, but how they use the Court of the Owls and Talon. This feels like it could have been one of those Batman the Animated Series episodes where it's not using a real Batman villain; they're just kind of making their own thing.
Yeah, that's what it should feel like.
It could have just been a cult with an assassin that fights Batman at the end.
It
doesn't feel like it needs to be the Court of the Owls.
After what you see, it could be anything, right? It could be any secret society.
Is so different.
Make up anything. Yeah, although I'm not going to say he's wholly uninteresting. I think he starts. I think by the third act, they start getting a little bit sloppy with him, and he's not as interesting as I thought he was earlier. But
because they remove all of the Lucas March stuff, they did need a bad guy.
Yeah.
So add more stuff to him, and I haven't read any of that Talon stuff. I know there was a Talon.
I read a couple issues. I didn't read any past.
So I have no idea if that stuff comes from there.
Yeah, I don't remember. But the idea of bringing in a guy off the streets who doesn't belong with all of this, and then having him be a foil for Damian, and using that to parallel them, it's not a bad idea. The problem,
I actually think
the problem with it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the end of their confrontation, I actually thought was the best moment of the film.
Oh, really?
When Damian tries to make the decision to not kill him, and then he makes Damian do it, where he pulls his hand, the scythe through his neck.
See, I didn't think
that was a really good ending of what they were doing.
I didn't think that worked at all because Damian doesn't feel anything about it. He doesn't. It's not like he didn't actually kill him. He doesn't feel remorse for it. He doesn't see himself as the one that did it just because his hands did it. I thought that's where they were going with that. There's no talk. Well, I expected there to be some kind of talk where Batman's like, you can't blame yourself for that. This doesn't count as you going over the line that I was afraid you'd go over. There was none of that. And I think that the decision he makes after that to leave, but to let Batman know that he appreciates him now and he considers him his father and all that stuff, I thought you could do all of that without that. I don't see what the point of it is, except...
I thought the point was that he wasn't, that would never happen to Batman. The point was he wasn't good enough to stop him.
Oh, that's interesting. You could just argue it's just he's 10 and he wouldn't have been strong enough. But, yeah, okay, I can kind of see that, and then maybe what they needed to have done...
I assume that's why he left I assume he's going around the world to train.
I just feel like...
That was my assumption, is that that's why he goes to train.
Here's the thing, though. He goes to train because he's conflicted in the whole movie. He can't decide who he wants to be. And I think he still has that without the kill right there. Like he can't decide if he should be killing people. The most important thing, and I loved, by the way, cannot believe I'm using that word. I'm excited about that. The speech that he has at the end where he says, Batman's in my head, Raish's in my head, the Talon's in my head. I have no distinct personality or identity. I don't know who I am. And I feel like you still would have that, because all the way through he's conflicted and he never can decide if he should kill or not. And I thought, by the way, that I would hate all of that more than I did. Where like he's insisting on going with Talon, even though he's not killing and he's not staying with Batman and all of that. And I kind of thought that I would that I would see that as like really obnoxious and angsty and stuff. And I surprisingly kind of bought it to a degree. And also I was impressed, let me say this really quick, I was also impressed with the whole discussion with Talon in the Court of Owls, with the lady that runs it, when he's like, I can't remember if it's with her or what, but I saw it one time, but when they're talking about how he's manipulated, oh no, it's a conversation with him and Damian, how he's manipulated Damian, and then he's like, I can't believe how easy Batman made it for me. And what I liked about that was, just before that, I love it when I have this, just before that I thought, yeah, but it was kind of an easy manipulation. There wasn't anything sophisticated about it, really. And then I'm like, but he's vulnerable. He's in that place. He's more of a 10-year-old than anybody is actually admitting. And I really like that.
Well, there's two stories here, right? Like, there's the Court of the Owls thing, and then there's the other thing.
Yeah.
There is a Grant Morrison story that I think actually would have worked way better and would have actually called back to their best film. There's a story, it's the second arc of his Batman Robin. So when it was Dick and Damian, where the Red Hood comes back and he is just straight up, he has a new costume that looks like Batman, but with like the Red Hood, helmet, and he's just the Punisher. And I feel like that story is way more interesting with Damian. Like, if this is the story you want to tell where he's tempted to kill, I feel like doing an adaptation of that story, because that's not the story that they tell in that story.
Yeah.
But taking those elements, that works way better than what they did here, where they try to do the talent. Because I feel like at the end of the day, like, he's working for the Court of the Owls, and like that doesn't jive with Damian. I feel like that all stuff is too. He's not just a father figure that's teaching him his way of thinking. It's a whole cult thing.
Yeah, and maybe the problem is we either don't have enough time or we don't spend enough time on the right things to where it makes sense that he would make the leap to pledge himself to that society. I can see him wanting to follow this Talon guy over Batman because he embodies the philosophy that he thinks he's maybe going more with. Because what I like about it is that he's trading up one secret society he was raised by for another. I think that's a good idea. But
I feel like if that was to work better, it should have been the leader. Like, it should have been the Ra's al Ghul of...
Yeah, absolutely. And he should have spent time with the actual people there. He's just with the Talons the whole time. The first time he meets anybody else is the time that they tell him, you need to pledge yourself to us, and he says, I am loyal. I pledge myself to you. But the problem is, again, the deal is he's a conflicted 10-year-old and he doesn't know what he's doing, so you can get away with a lot there. But in the moment, I just kept kind of trying to decide if I liked it or if it was working or not, because like, he still hasn't brought himself to kill anyone. I mean, like, he's left Batman. He fought Batman. He didn't kill him. He did the kind of cliche, drops the thing right next to his head instead of on his head to make us think that maybe we knew what we were about to, what the camera was.
Shocked. I thought that was dead. Taking this.
Really?
This was the reason we put all of these films in the same continuity, because this universe doesn't have Batman.
Wow, this series has really messed with your sharpness, Eric. I don't know, but anyway, so like I don't know. In the moment, he does that, and he pledges himself to them, and I'm like, I can't decide if that's like where the best of the drama is, or if it's not working. I'm still not sure. You know what I mean? Because like it's either the best thing, like one of the best things in the movie, or it's not great. I can't decide.
I don't feel like it's not working, but I do feel like it's not working as well as it could.
Yeah. You wanted to talk about we've jumped away from that, and I want to get back to it. You wanted to talk about the thing with them not knowing that Bruce Wayne is Batman. Because they just don't seem anything like as smart as they're pretending like they are. When they're like, we've been following you everywhere.
Well, there's implications in the comic that they were behind the Wayne's murder, and like they've been following him since then and have known everything he's up to.
Well, and
that's what's scary.
Well, I also felt like
it's scary.
Yeah, I also felt like that they were hinting at those implications at the beginning of this, and then they did nothing with that. Why would you keep? And I think this was a Snyder thing in the comic. Correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been a while since I've read it. But
it's been a while since I read it too.
If memory serves, they took that image of the owl grabbing the bat straight out of Snyder. Like I thought that was in there. Why would you have that? Yeah, if you weren't gonna that's all part of that. I was
so let down because they kind of start to do the maze thing.
I know.
In the comics, and they don't.
I was excited. I was expecting to have to turn my TV upside down. There is a moment that I thought was awesome until I found out that they really didn't know he was Batman. I spent the whole movie thinking, okay, if they know he's Batman, this is neat. If they don't, it's deflated it hard, and then he deflated.
Is it the chick that he's dating is part of the court?
No, but I like that. There's nothing wrong with that. I
didn't like it because Bruce never reacts to it.
Bruce doesn't react to anything. That's my biggest problem with it, is that he feels like a bored.
Well, I haven't liked this Batman at all.
I don't like the voice. But anyway, we'll get to that. Let me explain this really quick. When they bring Bruce Wayne in, and isn't this a little convenient that they're dealing with Bruce Wayne and Batman both simultaneously, and not knowing that they're together? This is why I thought this was so cool. They bring Bruce Wayne into the court, and Bruce is talking about Batman like he's not Batman naturally. And they say, we are dealing with him as we speak. And I was like, that's awesome. Because he's there, and they know it. And then it turns out they don't! And I'm like, oh! That was a great line! Until it turned out that it was sloppy, and they... Oh.
After they find out, there's this line when Batman gets there, and it's backwards. Batman shows up, and Talon goes, Bruce... Or should I say Batman?
Yeah, I had the same thing. I was like, well, wait a minute.
Why is backwards?
Buddy, you're wearing a bat suit. He's wearing a bat suit. Yeah.
No, you're burying the lead. It's
Batman. Should I say
Bruce?
Yeah. What? And it doesn't matter anyway because he already knows that they know. So like, it's kind of it's pointless.
But do they know that he knows
that they know? I don't know. It's after a while, I don't know what we're even saying when we do that. But anyway, so they get him in the maze, and I hesitate to compare this too much to comics because, as I always say, it doesn't have to be just like the book. And you want this
is the most memorable scene.
You want this to hold up for folks that have never read that story. So you want this to be a part of this story and work. I felt like the maze and a couple of other moments were there for as kind of fan service for us that had read that and were big fans of it. And that was a letdown in that department. And so I don't know if this is a problem for the movie or just because I know that stuff, but the thing is, in the book, I'm hesitating doing this, in the book, when he's in the maze, it's played as the single hardest thing Bruce Wayne has ever dealt with. He is... And Snyder really loves to do this to Batman, to take him to his physical and mental worst, darkest, deepest place, and have him get to a place where you think he could never possibly get out of it, and he really has to struggle to get out of it. And here, kind of lame. He goes into the maze. How do you do this? How do you do now? I think this is a problem for the movie. For anybody watching a thing like this, not even knowing the comics, you pull out and you show a maze that big, and it is absurdly big. It is like the size of the Narrows big. I mean, it's big, right? You pull out and you show all of that maze. You have Batman have a line where he's determined and he's not gonna give in, and he says, "I will find my way out." And you don't walk the maze? Really?
Yeah.
Like, you don't do... So he goes into a maze, and then we just have a hallucination, and then all of a sudden, he's back in the Batcave. Really? You can't do that. You can't show me a maze and then not do a maze thing.
Well, see, what he did was, he tricked the hand of fate, and he got on it, and he just got out of the maze.
I wanted to make that joke.
Did I take it from you, or did you not?
No, I just didn't come up. And that's not the joke. That's not the joke.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
No, we haven't gotten there yet. In fact, at the moment, I can't even completely remember what it was, because it was a piggyback off a joke you were going to make, and you have to make that joke first, and then... Anyway, do you remember yours? You were going to make a joke that we talked...
Oh,
sorry, folks.
Yeah. I was going to only refer to this as Batman v. Robin, Son of Justice.
Yeah, and I was going to say... Here it is now. I guess I'm telling you, this is the joke, Eric. What I was gonna say is so you were gonna refer to this as Batman v. Robin, Son of Justice. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
You could call the previous one Dawn of Son of Justice. That was my joke.
Well, I said this to you beforehand. I said I was going to bring up the video. I might as well bring it up.
Sure.
I actually chuckled a little bit at the end of the movie when the credits hit.
Yeah.
Because Talon has this whole backstory where he had this abusive father. And I was like, this is kind of weird. Like, this isn't from the comics. Like, and we haven't touched anything like this in the DC animated films. Like, this is kind of a weird thing to do. And then it says written by J.M. DeMatteis. And I was like, oh, of course it was written by J.M. DeMatteis. If you read anything, that's his way of adding pathos to villains. I like J.M. DeMatteis, I really do, and I think it shows that they got someone who is a good writer.
I think that's really important, is that usually when we do these now, we're talking so much about like really stilted and forced dialogue, and we do too much exposition dialogue, stuff like that. There's a little bit of that here and there, but by and large, this is an okay script, and most of the problems with it are
2 lines that bothered me.
Story things, but
there are 2 lines that stood out.
I had delivery issues. I don't know that I care for the kid that plays Damian at all.
I didn't like him in the first one. I don't like him in this one, and it's the problem of. I'm pretty sure they cast age appropriate.
Yeah,
and he's just not good enough, and he
just doesn't have the experience. He's not quite there. Yeah, it's like if you tried to do Ender's Game and you actually cast a 6 or 7 or 8-year-old. I mean, like,
well, and it's also that. Like, I know that Damian's 10, but I don't read Damian as 10. Like, it's the idea of like.
Oh, so you don't want to hear his voice? You just don't even want to hear his voice.
Well, no. I don't have a problem hearing Damian's voice, but like, it's that weird thing where like I've been raised for my entire life on cartoons where a 10-year-old boy is a 30-year-old woman. That is what a cartoon that's what a kid sounds like in a cartoon. And so when you get a real kid, it just sounds off to me. You know what I mean? Like,
well, a lot of it is
of any cartoon you've ever watched. It's never a 10-year-old. Robin in that Batman the Animated Series isn't a kid.
Yeah, well, the problem is you've got a kid that's talking like he's been through a lot, and you've cast a kid that probably hasn't been through anything like what Damian has.
He doesn't sound like he's been through it.
He just doesn't sound like he's actually been through that. He's saying hell a lot, he swears, and you would expect Damian to do that. And again, as I've always said, I'm not a big Damian fan. I
am, and this Damian is so weak compared to like he's not stealing Bruce Wayne's car. He doesn't cut anybody's head off and bring it to Bruce.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just usually see him as really bratty, and he is that in this, and they get him to a place at the end where I'm surprised that I kind of buy it okay. Yeah, at least in the context of these, where I'm surprised that some of the character stuff is kind of okay. That's as far as I'll go, I think. But
I was saying there were 2 lines I don't like.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is the Bruce, or should I say Batman?
Yeah.
The second line comes straight from Corey the Owls, and I don't like it. I hate this webcam because I'm doing 2, but it's like down here and you can't see it.
No, I can see it. Oh no, not until you pulled it up. Okay.
Yeah, no, I was doing it before and you didn't notice. It's
okay, but for the record, if I did that, nobody would necessarily be able to see it on the camera either. It's like
that's true.
2.
But It's a line that comes straight from the Cory the Owl story, and I just don't think they earn it. And it's "get the hell out of my cave."
I had the same thing. I felt like it sounded too much like, and this would be a great segue to talk about the way Batman's characterized and the way his his voice. And I don't mean the guy voicing him necessarily. I mean his literary voice. It's that stuff like that sounds too much to me like trying to be Frank Miller.
Well, but I'm pretty sure that is a line in the Cory the Owl's comic.
No, it is, but in this, it really felt that way. And then some of the stuff, like Sons of Bees and stuff, that didn't, I don't know, man. Like,
I feel like the third act of this has problems. One is, we do the same thing that I didn't like in the Cory the Owls, which is we build up the court, and then we just take them away, and this is the villain now. Except this one didn't really build up the court as much. But I felt like storming the Batcave with the legions of, like, that. Like, it kind of came out, like, are we even aware that there are other Talons up until that point in the film?
Yeah, well, I thought the other Talons were the people in stasis.
They are. Do we see them before they get released?
They're talked about. We see some
stasis. I must have just
stuff. Yeah, no, that's built up to. That was all handled well.
Like again, like in the comics, they know who Bruce Wayne is.
Yeah,
and like it's kind of a big deal that they bust in the Batcave. Here, it almost feels like Batman fights them, goes back to the Batcave, and they just follow him.
Yeah,
it's not an invasion.
The whole point of the... Well, and when he looks over at the clock, I was like, is he going to lead them directly to the Batcave? Well, and I also thought it was really weird.
And the mech suit came out of nowhere.
It's
a cool moment in the comic. In this, it's like, well, why didn't you lead with that?
It was also weird that he goes into... He's got like a separate secret interest in the Batcave. He goes in there, and he goes down, and he leaves the door open. It's like, why would you do that? Like I felt like he had a running start on them, and they didn't necessarily see him go in there. You closed the door, dude. The only reason they're in the Batcave is because you left that open.
That's a problem in everything.
That's like if you're in '60s Batman and you're being chased by the Joker, and you open up the Shakespeare head, and then you forget to close the thing that has the fireman poles.
You just leave the shelf out of the way, just poles exposed.
Yeah,
that sounds really dirty.
There's one episode in that show. I gotta say, one episode in that show where they do that, and I love the way they contrive because the Joker goes there and he goes down. And he almost gets into the Batcave. And the way they contrive him not figuring out that Bruce and Dick are Batman and Robin, because, on that wall it says Bruce and Dick on the wall, is that earlier in the episode they tell us that that Alfred has been repainting. And he paints over it. So when Joker gets on the pole, of course. So when Joker gets on the pole, he doesn't know that. And then Alfred, I think it's Alfred, just keeps pressing the button to make him keep going up and down. And he never gets into the cave, and he can't get off the pole, and he just goes up and down constantly.
Batman just secretly lives in Bruce Wayne's house. He's not Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, he never gets low enough to see the Batcave. He only gets like halfway.
What does he think it is?
They even say he thinks it's a dumbwaiter. He even says, like, get me off this dumbwaiter. It's pretty funny. In that show, you can get away with that kind of thing. It's pretty funny. Anyway, I'm sorry. What were we talking about? Oh, okay. You said that always happens. Go ahead.
I said that what always happens.
You said... I was talking about the door. Yeah.
No. Start paying attention to movies and television shows and cartoons. No one ever closes doors ever.
Okay.
Unless you do not want someone to hear, and you have a methodical scene where they close the door behind them. It's almost as present as the second someone walks into the room, you close your computer.
Yeah, Eric, you need to also pay more attention to movies and TV shows, because if somebody takes a thing and slams it down really hard on a main character's face, you're gonna see it right next to their face, okay?
Right, I didn't even... You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
But they always get me. I'm always like, oh, they're gonna get him. I'm like, oh, it was a psych out.
Let's get back to the talents for a minute. The whole point of the Court of the Owls. The whole point of the Court of the Owls, in the first place, is they've been manipulating things in Gotham for generations. They're there before Batman. There's this whole cool like bat versus owl animal motif that they don't even broach here really, and the whole idea is that Batman's maybe met his match because they know everything about. They are 15 steps ahead, and they were before he was born.
He's been operating for years, and he has no idea that they exist.
That is not here, and they have the background thing of Bruce Wayne was like looking for them and like researching it and couldn't find them. But they bring that in. But the problem with it, what you want them to do, of course, when you have that, is do what the story was in the first place, which was he's still not sure if they really exist now. We get that flashback because now he knows they do. Like they immediately figure, sees them, and like I don't know, it's kind of lame.
Things like at the beginning of that story. Bruce Wayne is showing it's a hologram of what he wants to do with Gotham. He's going to make Gotham better, and that's what starts the ball rolling. In this, he walks into a room with his girlfriend, and there's a model, a small city model.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I was thinking, we haven't talked about this in a while, but this is a project I'm working on, and then it never comes back.
No, it does come back. We find out that that's the whole reason that they're grabbing after Bruce Wayne in the first place. They bring Bruce in and they say we want to do what you're trying to do to save the city in tandem with what we're working on. We want you to work with us.
It doesn't come back like it does in the comics.
No, but they use that as the catalyst, and they kind of just here's what I can't figure out. It seems to me like they kind of just get lucky that she's dating Bruce Wayne, I guess because he's one of the rich people in Gotham that's not part of the Court of Owls and maybe is thinking about trying to add him, I guess. And then he just happens to show her that model, and so now's the time he decides to do that. Simultaneously, completely disconnected from that, they choose this moment to go after Robin. Why didn't they do that before? He's been around for a while. Why now? It's too easy.
What I hate about her dating him is that makes them even scarier if it's the Snyder stuff, right?
Of course.
Like, they're so infiltrated that she's dating Batman.
Yeah, and Bruce Bruce actually likes her, and he's kind of enamored, and it's not one of those relationships where he's just doing it for FaceTime. He seems like he actually likes her, and the only anything like close to a spark of actual vulnerability or humanity or enjoyment of any kind is with Bruce Wayne in that movie is that he's dating this girl he kind of likes. The rest of the time, he's a complete bore. And that's my biggest thing with it, is that Snyder's Batman, and again, it doesn't have to be just like the comics, but you've got a story about a guy trying to raise his son, and he doesn't know how to what he's doing and how to do that, partly because of his stoicism, but you can't make him that stoic. In Snyder's comics, there's levity. Batman makes jokes and stuff sometimes. I mean, there's levity in those books. Where is that in this? We need that in this. It's not there.
Well, and this obviously cuts the best joke from that arc, where Batman punches Dick. They bring Nightwing in, and I don't even know why Nightwing's in this movie. Because he's in the arc, and the whole thing is that he's a Talon. He doesn't even know it, but he's set up to be a Talon.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
And then Batman punches him, and he punches his tooth out, and it's got the Talon thing.
I think he's here. Yeah, that's lucky, isn't it? I think he's here because he was in, if memory serves, Batman and Son with the whole rivalry. I think that's really the only reason he's there.
Why do these have to be connected? Like, I was thinking about this earlier today before we started talking. I was thinking about this. I was like, does it add anything more than Under the Red Hood and Superman versus the Elite, there's nothing that necessarily says they don't exist in the same universe. Do I need to know that this is the same as? I don't feel like I'm gaining anything from this continuity-driven film.
Yeah, here's the thing. What I like about the fact that we've already set that up is that I don't have to sit through flashbacks and they don't have to waste time with it, because 80 minutes you got very little real estate to adapt something like this. Now, 80 minutes is plenty of time depending on what kind of story you're telling. There are times with Batman animated series where 22 minutes is a perfect amount of time to tell a story. But with this, the one thing I do appreciate about it is that we don't have to have a lot of talk about where he came from and who he is. Now, the question is everybody who's watching this keeping up with this as a continuity? This is not a thing that anybody I've really heard is talking about as this ongoing continuity. You know what I mean?
Like anyone cares.
I don't either. Well, and we should mention this. I haven't heard word one about this movie. It's been out a few weeks.
I haven't either.
We haven't reviewed it yet. I mean, this is we're finally reviewing it.
And I couldn't find anything.
Nobody's really talking about it. These things are making like $11 now. And I mean, I have no idea what this thing
that
sold.
That should have been your joke.
But it's just, yeah, you laughed harder at that. But I think that's just because there was too much setup for the other one. I think if you had known that the joke was coming, you would have laughed harder at that. But it's an okay joke. It's not that funny. Anyway, but I don't know. Like nobody's talking. Nobody cares. And what's really weird about it is that people talked about Batman and Son because it was the first. I think because it was the first standalone Batman movie we'd had in a while. The Arkham thing only sort of counts because it's got Batman's name in it, but he's not even the main character. Not even close.
And it's tied to a completely other franchise that is already like a mega success.
Yeah, and so I think people. Yeah, and so people talk about that.
I feel like people talk about if they made like something set in the Arrow Flashverse.
But what's really sad is this thing is the best of these they've made, and no one's talking about it.
But it's also not worth talking about.
It's not great, yeah, which is why we've spent, 40 minutes on it? Yeah.
We always do this. We always start with, I have nothing to say.
I got nothing to say, and then, okay, I guess we're talking about it. What else do you want to bring up? This is a thing that we... Sorry, I always ask that question, and then I say a thing. Excuse me. Let me say this really quick. I often will land on, well, the action is thrilling and dynamic, but I don't really care because there's not enough human stuff. I haven't liked some of the action in these movies because I thought it was too gratuitous and stuff. The action in this is all really good. I think it's fine. The fight especially the fight with Batman and Robin, which is really the reason the movie is called that. You've got one big fight in the middle. Is great on the roof. I think it's really good. The handcuff thing and I liked all that.
Do we know what's coming next? Like, what's the next? I assume we're getting another Justice League and another Batman, but I don't know what they are.
I don't know besides Gods and Monsters, which isn't in this continuity.
No, and it's not, like, it's on YouTube, isn't it? It's like a Machinima thing.
No, Machinima has a lead-up mini-series to it, but it's a movie. It's a full-fledged movie.
Is it? Is it officially full?
Yeah, there's a mini-series.
They were saying it was a series.
People blow things out of proportion too fast, and that's why you heard that. Machinima got a mini-series. This is what I've read later, and I think this is right. Machinima got a mini-series about that leading up to the actual movie. That's going to be released on the platforms that these always are.
So that will probably be out soon, because I think the first episode of Machinimas came out.
Yeah, I think it is going to be soon. I've already seen it. I mean, it's pre-order on Amazon and stuff, so that'll be out soon.
Oh, okay. I haven't.
I noticed it today when I rented this. But
and I have to assume, right, when that comes out, the Machinima stuff's just going to be on that DVD.
Yeah, that whole thing, like I said, it was kind of blown out of proportion because we haven't had a TV show for this stuff lately. So people are like, oh, cool, a series, and then. Well,
and Bruce Timm said he was done with the animated film, so I think when he said he was working on something, people just assumed it was a series.
Yeah, that's that too.
So we don't even know what's coming next? Is this the first time we have not known what's coming next?
I don't know.
Is this the end?
I didn't look it up ahead of time. I'm not sure. I can do that if you want me to. I
was trying to. My internet's running slow.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll see what I can find. You caught me off guard here. Anyway, what else do we want to bring up?
I don't have anything else for this movie. That was kind of my closing was like, well, what's next? I don't care about these movies.
Yeah.
Like the fact that this is the best one in years outside of Arkham, like that's a problem.
I think I don't know if it's better than Arkham. I think they're kind of on par. But Arkham's at least fun.
I think Arkham's way better.
Well, yeah, but that's because you're a big Suicide Squad fan, and
yeah.
storytelling.
I think it's more fun.
Storytelling, well, it is more fun, certainly. I think this is.
Well, but you're a big Arkham fan.
Well, yeah, but it didn't have to be Arkhamverse.
Yeah, you're the only person reading the Arkham Unhinged comics.
I'm not the only. No, that's over now. We're at the Arkham Knight comic now. There's a lot of people reading that.
Is it any good?
Yeah, it's quite good.
Do you want to catch up on what comics we've been reading? While you're looking.
Would you just give me a second? I wanna see if I can. I'm looking through the list here to see if there's anything else coming. I wanted to mention a couple things about voice actors real quick. I got excited before this came out a little bit when I heard
Weird Al. We completely forgot about Dollmaker.
That Weird Al was going to be Dollmaker, and then I watched the movie and had to get the credits to make sure that I had heard that right, because I couldn't tell it was him. It didn't make any difference.
There's one line, like right at the end
of
the fight.
Gods and Monsters is the only other thing mentioned right now. I don't see anything else.
Wow, we usually know what the next 2 or 3 are.
Yeah.
Or it'll at least say Untitled Justice League.
No, I know. I don't see.
Well, that's gonna be depressing if this is the last one.
It might. Yeah, that might be the end. I guess we'll see. Usually there's another, but yeah. Unannounced projects. There's nothing right now. So far, Batman vs. Robin.
How can there be a section for unannounced projects? If they're unannounced, by definition, we don't know they exist.
Because they're things that have been talked about. Maybe they'll do, but they're not officially announced.
Oh, that's like Judas Contract.
Batman, and Sinestro Corpse War and stuff like that. Batman vs. Robin has made so far. Remember, this came out in April. So far, it's made almost the exact same amount of money as Throne of Atlantis has in total, and it's $3 million is all. Son of Batman did 4. So these things keep dropping, except...
I wonder what, if you go back and look at Red Hood, what has Red Hood made?
Red Hood did almost 10.
Yeah.
Which is, and it's third best. I've actually looked at these numbers before. It's like the third highest gross. Green Lantern First Flight weirdly did close to those numbers too for some reason. Superman Batman Public Enemies did 10. Superman Doomsday did 12, and it's still their highest grossed one, which is the whole reason they even kept with this line. Gotham Knight.
That's also the reason that the numbers started dropping almost immediately, was that wasn't very good, and everyone was like, oh.
New Frontier did half it. Gotham Knight did 10.
But that was because they lied to us and told us it was a prequel to Dark Knight.
Here's what I think is amazing, though. You look at these numbers, and Wonder Woman only did... I know you don't like that movie, but Wonder Woman only did 7. Or Wonder Woman did as much as 7. New Frontier did less than it. And after that, they were like, we can't... Besides Green Lantern, because they were doing live-action films, we can only do Batman, Superman, Justice League. They have made Batman and Superman and Justice League movies now that have made a fraction of that.
Well, and what's annoying is that
Fascinating.
They said years ago they have a script ready to go that they weren't allowed to make. It was an adaptation of Kevin Smith's Green Arrow Quiver.
Right.
When is the best time but now?
But right now,
make something like that.
Yeah, because that'll do better than an animated Batman thing now, because those are a dime a dozen, and people are just tired of them. They don't care anymore. There's a new Batman movie out all the time.
It's really big, regardless of quality. It's.
I would argue if you put a standalone Flash thing out right now, it would do 10 or 12.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
More than Green Arrow.
Dude.
Even more than Green Arrow, because I know a lot of, and this is just me in my personal life, but I see this online too. I know tons of people that watch Flash that could care less about Arrow.
No, that's true.
That brought in a bunch of people that were not following
Arrow.
My mom dropped
off of Arrow and still watching Flash. She dropped off somewhere in season 2.
I hear a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
now Green Arrow still would do probably better than these are doing. I'm not saying don't make that, but Flash especially. In fact, I bet if they made a Green Arrow Flash movie, they'd do really well.
Yeah, you're probably right. They could actually probably get away with a Green Arrow Flash Green Lantern movie.
I was going to say a Green Arrow Green Lantern movie would be a good idea.
Yeah, they're buddies. Flash is their buddy too. Actually, what is it? Brad Meltzer did an arc on Green Arrow after Kevin Smith left, which is just kind of it's I think it's called Archer's Quest, or it's something Quest, and it's him going around, and it's all tied into stuff with his friendship with Barry and his friendship with Hal, but I guess it's Kyle and Wally, so maybe that story wouldn't work.
One more thing real quick about this movie. I thought it was amusing that, and not a bad idea certainly, that Thomas Wayne was voiced by Kevin Conroy. I don't know if you noticed that.
Did I notice it? Yeah. No, he sounds exactly the same. He doesn't even change his voice.
No, the reason it's funny to me is because I remember while it was going on, having this brief moment where I thought, wow, he sounds too much like Batman. And I thought, well, he doesn't sound like this Batman. The deal is I have the exact same... because I've seen that show so much that I do in Batman the Animated Series. Whenever they do some kind of like fake flashback thing or something with Thomas Wayne talking to Bruce Wayne, where it's just Kevin Conroy talking in a lower pitch, and it's like it just sounds like Batman doing Thomas. It's hilarious.
Is he the dad in Brave and the Bold, or is that Adam West?
No, it's Adam West.
Okay, then he's Spectre. Okay, and that's what it is.
I think Adam West.
Well, there's an episode with the Spectre, and he's the one that lets them see the past. It's the Joe Chill episode.
I haven't seen it. There's a lot of that show I haven't watched yet.
Me either. I just happen to know that there's an episode. There's a famous Batman comic from, I want to say, the 70s, where Joe Chill finds out that he's the guy that made Batman.
Oh, cool.
And then he goes to tell the villains. He's like. I killed Bruce Wayne. Like, I know who Batman is, and I killed his parents. Like, wait, you made Batman? And they all beat up on him.
That's hilarious.
And this episode's not based on that. We're not even talking about this movie anymore. You want to wrap it up?
Yeah,
we can just cut and edit, really.
Let's go ahead and wrap up. Well, everybody, thanks always for watching. We sure appreciate it. If you saw Batman vs. Robin, let us know what you thought about it in the comments. And like we said, this might be the last of these we ever have to do. Besides Gods and Monsters.
I'm going to make a prediction. Because this one is so much better than the previous ones, we're going to get the most hate we've ever gotten in this video. Because no one ever agrees with us. They're always like, you're too harsh. This one is significantly better than the previous ones, so we're going to be way too harsh.
Well, anyway, also I want to mention that Eric and I are hoping to do some other direct-to-video movies that don't have to do with these at some point, because there's several that have come out.
They're still comic books. We're not venturing too far.
Yeah. But there aren't these DC direct-to-video, that official line. First of all, and we didn't mention this when we were talking about this before the video, Eric, but there's that Target exclusive thing that came out.
Yeah,
that Justice League.
The Travel in Time. I gotta watch that.
I've seen that, and I thought it was pretty good. It was alright. So
you told me to watch it, and
that'll be fun to do. So we're going to backtrack and do some of those. We want to do the Lego ones. I just got Justice League versus Bizarro League. This is hilarious. I watched it today, and I really enjoyed it. I kind of would like to talk about this at some point. But there's also two other ones, if memory serves. There's the one based on the second game, and then I think there's one based on the third game, too. And they must have come out simultaneously. And guess what? Darkseid in this is voiced by Tony Todd, and it's awesome.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really cool. As soon as he started talking, I was like, yes, it's Tony Todd. That was pretty great.
And we'll at least look at probably the Batman Unlimited.
See
if they're worth.
There's that thing that's based on the toy line that looks really weird to try to put in animation, and I guess it's him versus a bunch of anthropomorphized animals.
The second one has like actual Batman villains.
Oh, there's a second one? I didn't even know that. I thought that just came out.
It's coming out. I just saw it on like a comic book website.
So there's more of these things in other stuff that we'll talk about. That'll be fun for the sake of variety. So anyway, we're gonna do those, and Eric and I are talking about doing some other things for you soon. Hopefully, I can get him to come back, and it won't be another 3 months. But anyway, thanks for watching, folks. We sure appreciate it. Would you like to leave the viewers with anything, Eric?
No matter where you go, there you are.
Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. I'm Captain Logan. And that's Eric. See you later, folks.
I wasn't thinking I had to say goodbye.